Welcome to Central News, I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, a new governance qualification has officially been launched recently at the University of Waikato. The 9-month postgraduate certificate qualification is the nation's only postgraduate course aimed at upskilling the likes of company directors and government officials. Andrew Buchanan-Smart from the Centre for Corporate and Executive Education of Waikato University says students will be able to upskill in finance, corporate law, ethics, governance strategy and leadership.
So the benefits of this programme, really, anyone who's considering a career as a governor, either as local school trustee, any commercial boards, corporate boards, trustees or whatever, the benefits are that it will actually give a full grounding of all the basic principles of being a good governor, and at the end of it, a qualification rather than just simply a certificate to say you've attended a training programme. Again, a first in this region, and what a way to start a programme.
Hamiltonians are being urged to get neighbourly this March as part of the Neighbours' Day on the weekend of March 23rd and March 24th. The campaign strives to turn streets into communities and neighbours into friends, making neighbourhoods safer and more resilient. Councillor Daphne Bell says Neighbours' Day is a chance for New Zealanders to link with those who live around them beyond the usual wave over the fence or as they clear their mailboxes.
I think if you know the people on your street, it's likely to help your feeling of security and safety, but much more than that, I think it makes for a more enjoyable life.
Credit card surcharges are once again in the spotlight with a new government study of 3,000 retailers underway to determine the scale of the issue. The study comes on the back of a nationwide research by Auckland PR firm Impact PR, which found that 9 out of 10 Kiwis would move suppliers if their regular store introduced a surcharge of 3%, and that most consumers felt surcharges were poorly communicated to them. Impact PR's Mark Devlin says the businesses coming under the most scrutiny are those where the flat rate surcharge exceeds 3%. These include airlines and council-run parking meters where additional charges could be in the region of 10 to 25%. Now for our region's weather. Hamilton, Wednesday will be fine with a few light winds. Your expected high is 28 and an overnight low of 12. Tauranga Wednesday will be mostly fine with a few cloudy periods and a southeast breeze. Your expected high is 25 and an overnight low of 15. Just ahead, children building eco-shelters. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. Local schools have been presented an exciting opportunity to design an eco-shelter for an upcoming exhibition at the Waikato Museum. Jennifer Hamilton tells us about the project.
Well, as part of our exciting new exhibition, Planet Warriors, local students have been asked or invited to design an eco-shelter.
So what is the design brief?
The students have been asked to design an eco-shelter based on green design principles, reusing and recycling materials. The students will be given a site plan of a space along with environmental and safety requirements, and from this they're going to create these shelters.
And why a shelter?
Well, a shelter is a really basic need, both of human beings and of the animals on our planet. We thought it was a wonderful opportunity for students to explore the idea of the needs for survival and an opportunity to develop skills.
Yeah, okay, so what skills will this encourage kids to use?
Students will be encouraged to plan, to work collaboratively. They can think about construction, they will have to think about budget, and they will need to think about how their shelter is best going to meet the needs of the group that they're building it for. That could be people, it could be animals.
And what age of students is this project aimed at? And have you had lots of interest from the schools?
Yes, we've had a huge amount of interest already. It's designed for students in years 5 to 8, and we think that those students are going to have the time and the skilled space to be able to produce an eco-shelter.
So who will judge the exhibits and what are they looking for?
Well, we're really excited to have a group of partners with us in terms of our Planet Warriors exhibition, and they are going to be the judges of the Eco Challenge competition. Chow Hill have been most generous both with their expertise and their sponsorship. We also have Ian Mays from the council, who is one of the judging panel.
What happens with the winning design?
A group of designs will be first of all showcased in the museum, and the overall winning design will be constructed and placed as part of the exhibition.
How and when can members of the public view these designs?
The Warrior Planet exhibition is due to open in May, and as part of that overall interactive exhibition, the eco shelters will be there. So we're expecting schools to have their designs constructed by the end of May, and they will be open to the public as part of that exhibition.
Now, the Eco Shelters is actually part of a bigger project, as you mentioned. So can you tell us a bit about the Planet Warriors exhibition?
Certainly. Well, we're really excited at the museum. Planet Warriors is a big new interactive exhibition. For those of you who know the museum, it will be on the bottom layer of the museum, replacing the mighty River Power, which is currently in location there. The idea is that children in particular will become gamers in this exhibition. They'll each be given a mission, and their job is to go around the exhibition and to gain as many points as they possibly can to increase their rank to become ultimately a planet warrior. We're hoping that by the small pieces of information that they absorb, the ideas that they take on board, that they're going to go out and make a real difference both in their families, their schools, and in the environment that they live in, to become more sustainable in terms of living well within our city. Planet Warriors will be a very interactive exhibition. It has 4 major themes, so we will look at water. Water is a big issue for Hamilton City. Obviously, we draw most of our water from the river, so that needs to be treated and processed. It's then sent through a huge infrastructure to our homes, our schools, any other places that use water. So the first part of the exhibition is going to focus on how we can all reduce the amount of water that we use and quite frequently waste. The next part of the exhibition is centred around someone's home, and we want our children in particular to think about how they could improve the environment in their own home. Could they be the person who closes the curtains each evening? Could they have a look and check out the insulation in their household? So there's lots of opportunities for them to think about ways to make their home environment again more sustainable. We also want them to think about those vampire appliances that they have in their house, the ones that are quietly using power without us even knowing. Maybe they could become the person who goes around their home and turns all these appliances off. Next, we'll move into the garage, and that's another really challenging area for energy. There will be a car for them to drive. There will be other stations in which they'll be able to look at using bikes as an alternative form of transport. From there, we go out into the garden. Again, that's another area that we can all start to develop skills and talents and really look at our sustainable future. The final section in the interactives looks at recycling, particularly with waste. There's going to be a fantastic recycling game for them to play, and we know that they're going to learn a lot from that. We think that this is going to be something of huge interest to our children and to families who will be coming into the exhibition.
For more information, check out waikatomuseum.co.nz. Coming up, everything you need to know about the census. Welcome back. A week from today, you will be asked to fill out your census forms, but this year, you may not need a pen. I caught up with Waikato Area Manager. Lisa, is this the first year that Census has an online option?
No, the census had its first online option in 2006. So at that point, about 6% of people filled their forms in online. In the 2011 census, 70,000 people had filled their forms in online before it was cancelled. And then to date, we've got 490,000 people have filled their forms in online for this census.
So can you tell us about the online option? What is it?
So basically the online option gives people, once they've received their dwelling form and their individual forms, they can fill their forms in online. They get given an internet access code and there's an internet ID on their forms. They can log into the computer and complete the dwelling and the individual forms online. And if everybody in the household completes their forms online, it means that the collector may not have to go back to collect them.
Because you mentioned that some people have filled it in, so do you have to fill it in on Tuesday the 5th of March?
No, people can start filling in their census forms from the 16th of February when we first started delivery right up until the 5th of March. So yeah, so it makes it easy for people. They don't have to do it all on one day.
Because how many collectors are there in our region?
In our region we have 300, well in my region or area I have 324, that's for the Waikato, and there's 326 collectors in the Bay of Plenty, Coromandel area.
So how many is that, like one collector per how many households?
Collectors deliver anywhere between about 250 households through to the maximum of around about 400 households, depending on the geographical area that it covers.
It's a lot of households to get around.
It is in a very short period of time.
Yeah. So, because is the census participation actually mandatory?
Yes, it is mandatory for every single person who is in New Zealand to complete a census form. That includes obviously babies that have just been born, as well as people who are here visiting from overseas. So people who are from overseas and people under 15 just have to complete questions 1 to 12 on the individual form, and then obviously they sign it.
Is there any repercussions if you don't fill it out?
Yes, obviously we work with individuals as to why they don't want to fill in their census form in the first instance to try and understand and provide them, I suppose, what the benefits are of filling in your census form. But if people are still refusing to fill in their census forms, because it is a legal requirement, there could be possibly prosecution involved.
Oh really? Oh wow, I didn't realise that. Because the census was held off for 2 years after the 2011 Christchurch earthquake. What effect did that have?
Basically, the effect of cancelling that census meant that the information that we have about our population in New Zealand dates back to 2006. So there's been a lot of obviously changes to where people are living and what resources and funding that we actually need. So the 2006 census was obviously pre the financial crisis and also pre the 2011 earthquake. So it's about understanding where our population is at the moment, where our communities are at.
Because I mean that must have been a hard decision for Statistics New Zealand to make, to cancel it.
We were 4 days into delivery when the earthquake happened, and so the census was cancelled because there was a national emergency declared, and it was going to make it difficult to continue with the census because obviously what was happening to people around the country, as well as the making sure that the results that we got from that census were valid. Yeah.
Now, how soon are the results actually expected? When do we kind of find out?
The preliminary results start getting issued in December of 2013, although we have a commitment to the government to start providing preliminary results so that the electoral boundaries can be established, and that's around October of 2013.
Oh, is that for the local council elections?
I think it's also for the local council elections, but it's also for the national elections that are next year.
Oh, okay. And so when do Statistics New Zealand actually release all that information once they?
Yes, yep, we start releasing it. There's numerous products that Statistics New Zealand provide. There is also a website that you can go and visit. You can go and have a look at it now if you like. It's www.statistics.co.nz, and if you go on there it will give you information about the data that's there for the 2006 and also how that data has been used for the communities as well.
How much does a census cost to carry out?
A census normally costs around about 90 million to carry out. This census is 72 million because we've been able to use a lot of the sort of infrastructure and all the processes and systems from the 2011 census. Of that $72 million cost, there is a $32 million field cost, which involves the staff that are out in the field. There's 7,500 people employed for the census, and also obviously there's systems and processes in place to support that.
What value does it have to a New Zealander?
What value it has to a New Zealander, it's where the decision is made for a huge amount of government funding. So it's our taxpayers' dollars deciding where that needs to be spent. And also as individuals and communities, it's about trying to provide resources and services for groups so that they're supported in the community. It's used by a lot of community groups to apply for funding, and it's also used for things like hospitals and schools and roading, so that we can actually future plan to make sure that communities and individuals are taken care of.
And remember to fill out your form on next Tuesday, the 5th of March. Just ahead, a new way to see the sites of the Waikato Wars. If you've just joined us, welcome to Central News. Who needs to pay for a tour guide when you can download an app? With the Waikato War Tour, you can do just that. Amy Hobbs tells us more.
Well, the Waikato War was a series of battles and events through 1863 and 1864, spanned a period of about 10 months. And these events and battles were, or are, a significant part of New Zealand's history. They really have formed who we are as a nation and who we are as a people in our society today. So very, very key in terms of New Zealand's history and a very large part of the Waikato history here.
So a tour was created to showcase the history of the Waikato War. So can you tell me who created this tour and when was it officially launched?
So the tour was created by New Zealand Historic Places Trust. It was a collaborative project with Ngā Moka. So Ngā Moka is a hapu of Waikato Tainui Iwi. And we commissioned consultants to actually help us with the actual product development, you know, the website, the apps, the education package. So that's a process that's taken about 2 years to get to. A lot of research happened before that in terms of deciding what type of technology to use. And we officially launched it on January the 17th, so it's very new. We're just over a month now, so no, it's been a really, really fantastic project to be able to actually get out there in the New Zealand public.
So tell me then, where exactly does the tour take place?
So it starts up in Auckland. It starts at Highwick, which is up in Newmarket, and it goes as far as Kihikihi and Parongia, so it is quite a long journey. It takes into account 13 sites, including Rangiriri Pā. So that is one of the key battles of the Waikato War campaign that happened on the 20th of November 1863. So also at the site we have a walking tour which is included in the driving tour, so you can hop out of your car, you can walk around, and there is site signage there and a tohu maumahara, or a symbol of remembrance that has been carved by Warren McGrath and his team of carvers, which also helps with the interpretation of this battle. But there are a number of significant sites on this tour that you know, it takes you through a journey through the Waikato landscape, and yeah.
So where can members of the public check out these spots?
So all of the spots are publicly accessible, or at least visible from publicly accessible places. They can check them out anytime they want. All they need to do is download the app and they can follow the driving tour. We have tried to make it as easy as possible for people to access this information and access the stories through the digital media.
So as you've mentioned, there's a huge technological side to this tour. So tell me, how can viewers download their own tour guide?
So their best bet is to go to our new website. It's www.thewaikatowar.co.nz, and they can go down to the downloads section here. And in the download section, you can download the iPhone or iPod app and also the Android app. There's also audio files you can download and put on a CD, as well as the map for the actual driving tour and the education package. So yeah, it's all available digitally, and it's supported by site signage at 4 of our sites as well on the tour.
So where did this idea come from? Has this modern technology of a tour guide been attempted anywhere else in New Zealand?
Well, I guess the idea came about when we're leading up to the 150th commemorations, which are 2013 and 2014 for these events and these battles. And so I guess New Zealand Historic Places Trust saw this as an appropriate time to think about how we're going to tell these stories. And also to provide access to these stories in an accessible way that New Zealanders can understand, particularly younger New Zealanders who may or may not be aware of these sites and how accessible they are. In terms of other apps, it's a very unique product, particularly regarding a historic New Zealand tour. We have researched other apps, and we did find some successful similar apps in the United Kingdom, so we have learnt from those successes. And as far as I know, there's no other app quite like this in New Zealand, particularly because what we have done is taken kaumātua stories as well as written historic accounts, and the visitor can actually visit the actual battle sites. So it encompasses quite a layered interpretation product in that as well.
So tell me, what reviews of the tour have you had so far?
Very positive so far. A lot of energy has been created since the launch on the 17th of January. We've actually been approached by a number of organisations and groups about how we developed this product, what process we went through, what were our learnings, and I think there are a few other groups in New Zealand that would like to do something similar for their areas. So no, it's been really positive, particularly with teachers as well, as a resource for their students. So our education resource was targeted at the secondary school level of learning, but we've also had quite a few primary school teachers approach us about the resource and utilising it in their classrooms.
And how can viewers find out more information on the Waikato War Tour?
So the first place to start is our website. It's www.thewaikatowar.co.nz, and very soon we're going to have brochures at eyesites and museums. So we're just going through the process of contacting the eyesites and museums and distributing the brochures, so people will be able to pick those up. In the brochure there is a map, and there is information about the sites on the driving tour, the GPS coordinates, and also the website information.
For more information, visit hamiltonwaikato.com/the-waikato-war. That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook and let us know your views. If you have your own news, including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. Amy will be back tomorrow night with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.